rush map. Very good cannon rush map. But goodness knows what these guys want to do. Spawning in the bottom position of the map that is Polar Night as the purple Protoss player. Coming in from CJ Entis, it is Sora. Purple is pink. Spawning in the top position as the red Zerg player from Team Evil Geniuses, who are tied 1-1. Let's set that. It is Revival. So Revival's a pretty good Protoss player, Zerg player. But I haven't seen. You know, that's the thing with this WCS offseason is you really don't see too much. The last match of Revivals that I saw was versus Naniwa, which was another PvZ where he, to be just, you know, a little bit frank, got wrecked as Naniwa just went straight on and qualified for BlizzCon. So I'm wondering if he's tightened anything up since then, if he's changed his style at all. We'll have to see. This is a pretty fast probe scout with the pylon on the low ground from Sora. It does indicate that will probably be Nexus first or a Forge expand of some kind. And with the fast scout, he can confirm if whether or not he's safe to do a Nexus first. The thing with the fast probe is almost always forces the Zerg player to go for 15 pool. You never want a hatchery first if there's a probe at your base, because if they're cannon rushing you, you're basically dead. So there is the spawning pool. Very normally timed. Sora could theoretically go Nexus first still with this, but yeah, actually with the probes queued up, that seems to be the case. Hey, he's got 3 probes queued up, so probably going to be Nexus first. And just wants to use the probe, dance around, delay this hatchery from being started. If you go Nexus first, you don't want to invest into a pylon to block, so you have to just use your probe to block it. But he's actually going to build a Forge. Okay, I assume he built the Forge because he wants to pylon block. I don't think he needed to. I don't think he needed to build a Forge to defend against this. It is difficult if they send fast Zerglings, but there's the pylon block, so he just wants to delay the hatchery because the spawning pool is going to complete soon as well. And the Overlord will come in and see the Forge. Sora's just playing it safe. Nexus is on the way. As long as the Nexus starts before the hatchery, that's really all that matters. One of the big problems at Polar Night for a Zerg player versus Protoss, and I think this is really shown by the strategy choice from Sora, by forcing the hatchery to get placed here, almost more than most other maps, there's a very long distance between the natural expansion and the third base. Considering that there's still not a hatchery underway in the natural expansion for Revival, this means that spreading creep between the main and the third is going to take forever. So if there's some sort of early attack or early poke that Sora wants to do, be it just a very fast, even just a Zealot and a Mothership core, it is going to take some time to get this set up. And we already see Revival running some Zerglings around, wants to make sure that there's nothing nefarious being plotted around this third base, as he also takes the Watchtower. Cannon's going to complete. So this is still very standard for Sora. We'll see the Cybernetics core once the gateway completes. And there's the hatchery on the way inside the natural. We see, like I said, it takes so long for a queen to get there. The queen starts its journey now. It's like Oregon Trail. You want to start like right as winter is ending, so that when you arrive, it's not, you don't. So it's easier to survive on the way there. If you start during the spring, if you start during summer, you like almost always die because it's like winter time. But actually, the map is snow. Just forget that. Cybernetics core is halfway done. There's still no gas for Revival, so he's just purely droning up. He's not worried about any type of attack, which, is fair credit to him. His Overlord can see the Cybernetics core being warped in, so he kind of says, okay, you can't actually bring any pressure to me. This Zealot will come out, but even just a Queen can stop a Zealot, and it should have a handful of Lings as well, so that shouldn't be a problem at all. Warp Gate is starting up. Not going to get the Mothership core out before anything else. And he's actually just going to get a quick Stargate. So Stargate's still pretty popular in Protoss versus Zerg. I think it's probably one of the best ways to play. You can pick off, obviously, any Overlords that are hanging around, but it also gives you that that emergency button, the panic button in the later stage of the game. Like, if you open Stargate, it's always a comforting feeling to know that if you scout Mutalisks or something, you do have an immediate way to start building some sort of counter. Now, Sentry production is going as well. No attack upgrades from the Forge, so it's unlikely to be mixed with any type of timing attack. Taking the gas and the natural at the same time. So it still feels like a very economic play. He's putting a lot of his chrono boosts into probes. Almost all of the chrono boosts into probes, really. The Mothership core is just now coming out, so he really wasn't worried about being attacked. And you have a double pylon wall as some slowlings make their way across. And we do finally see some gas being mined. One geyser from the third base, one geyser from the main. And generally speaking, what seems to be pretty popular among Zerg players is just getting the Lair, Roach Warren, and Evolution Chamber all around the same time. But there's also some Zerg players like Hyun like to go for just fast Hydralisks, maybe not even get the Roach Warren. We'll have to see. You have to start with the Roach Warren pretty soon, though, if he wants to get the speed upgrade as the Lair completes. So it all comes down to where exactly Revival wants to take this. The Robotics Facility is coming in as the follow-up. And we have the Phoenix already on the map beginning to just chew away at these Overlords. Does that sounds... For some reason, that Phoenix attack sound was, like, really weird. There's the Roach Warren. So, should finish up within a reasonable amount of time to get Roach speed. Is there an Evolution Chamber on the map yet? I don't think so. He's even getting Spore Crawlers at each base. Very smart, of course. Don't want the Phoenix to be picking off units left and right, as he is just going to grab these Overlords first. It feels like the attack is just in slow motion. Third base is on the way for Sora, though, so this is a pretty interesting tactic. He's actually... Oh, yeah, he's double sporing each base. This is a little bit more... It's funny I mentioned Hyun-esque. The double spore basically is a way of saying you won't do any real damage to me with your Phoenix at all, as far as the workers go. But Robotics Bay is also where he's going to head with this, so it's not just a straight-up immortal play. He wants to go into Colossi. And let's see what the Phoenix can do. They see the Roach Warren. Should be able to spot this Lair with not really any difficulty. Yeah. And Zergling Speed's coming in as well. I don't know if Roach Ling is going to do too much for Revival in this situation. Yeah, there's the Hydra Ascent, so it's probably just going to be Roach Hydra. Without an Evolution Chamber, it's slightly difficult to tell, only because the Roach Warren can sometimes be used defensively from some Zerg players versus Protoss. I know that there are definitely Zerg players that like just Zergling Hydralisk play. But with the Roach speed now starting, it feels like it's a bit more towards... It's leaning more towards the heavy commitment towards the Roach Hydra. We'll see once the Evolution Chamber upgrades start, though. Third Nexus is done. Cannon tucked away between the gateways and the pylons means that Sora will have a relatively easy time holding off any mild aggression. And with the Phoenix here, he's actually going to see if anything leaves these bases to bring any type of harass. If Roaches and Hydras leave the natural, by keeping active with these Phoenix, there's probably going to be the first target of the Hydralisk. So he'll have some idea. Now he's picking out just another drone or two. The Spore Crawler is able to do a lot of damage, though. You can't stay very long. Rock's being broken down for a potential fourth base for Revival, which is pretty nice. I love this. And actually going into double Stargate behind this. So Sora's just throwing all caution to win, getting the extended thermal lance as well. Now he has one immortal and is getting an additional Colossus. Held off a few lings at the front here, it looks like. The Spire is on the way. But I'm wondering how much he's going to commit with this Spire. Because the Hydras are coming in too, but he's getting the missile attacks for the Hydras. So this definitely feels like Roach Hydra. Another couple drones will get snapped up. The Overseer's trying to do some scouting. We have a Changeling moving in towards Sora's base. And there are the first Hydralisks traipsing their way onto the field. And he's going to get right under the Phoenix. Very nice catch. Picks off all but two. Just slicing that number in half. Now, Revival does have a decent bit of change in his pocket. So what does he do with the Spire being done? As Sora adds on more and more to this third base. It's going to be a few more Roaches. He's getting Flyer attacks +1. And it's interesting, because as the Overseer comes in, he will see these Stargates. So I feel like if you see double Stargate from your opponent, the last thing you want to do is go straight into Mutalisks, because they're going to be able to produce Phoenix so quickly, they'll just overwhelm you in a matter of minutes. So triple Void Ray production is very, very, pretty kinky play here from Sora. I like this. With the Protoss air weapons, Colossus Void Ray can be so difficult to kill. These Corruptors are going to be... killed very, very quickly. The triple Stargate is actually crazy, because Void Rays are almost some of the most expensive units you can build with how much resources per minute you have to invest to actually produce them with the Chrono Boost. So he's just producing one Colossus at a time and 3 Void Rays. There's only 9 Corruptors on the field. If he gets 6 Void Rays are going to melt 9 Corruptors like they never even existed. So this is very, very smart. Or at least it's very smart composition-wise, this setup. He does need to be a little bit wary of the Hydralisks, but that's what the Colossi are for. What's really important is that the Roaches for Revival tank the proper amount of damage. As a Zerg player, the Hydralisks are supposed to deal the damage. The Roaches are what keep the Colossi from killing your Hydralisks instantly. And then the Corruptors obviously want to kill the Colossi. But despite scouting the 3 Stargates, he hasn't done anything directly as a response. So he's just moving in with this force. I'm wondering if it's going to be enough. 3 Colossi, I think, with this many Void Rays can probably kill off these Corruptors pretty quickly, especially pressing into this. There's 4 Void Rays here. There's 2 more coming out at the same time. He will be able to pick out the Cybernetics Core and delay and cancel the +1 attack, which is actually very smart. He warps in some Stalkers as well. Bit of a panic reaction, but he's going to move into third base under attack. Cannon taking some damage. Photon Overcharge does get activated. He's trying to get the next Photon Cannon, and he will pick that off, but Sora's bringing the army out now. Is he going to engage this? That's the question. Some changelings are being snapped up. Cybernetics core being rebuilt, halfway done. But the 4th base has been secured for Revival. I like this. Revival is kind of dancing here with almost with fire. He's only got +1 attack. And Sora, I mean, Sora has +1 shields, which is a bit unusual. It's not something it's not a commonly researched upgrade at this phase of the game. No charge either, which I also find a little bit interesting. He doesn't want the Zealots to get in there too fast. These Roaches will get caught, and the Void Rays have no trouble just blowing these apart. But at the same time, he's just going to hit the 3rd base, trying to distract him. The Hydras are moving in the Colossi, dealing tons of damage, just shaving these off. The Nexus is still alive. There's still Zealots being whooped in to deal with the Zerglings and a Photon Cannon, so the 3rd base holds strong for Sora. And now he's going for the counter push. I love this decision coming out of him. He's maxed out. 11 Mutalisks are on the way, but as long as Sora can see this coming or soon enough, he has 3 Stargates. He has 3 Stargates on the map, and I feel like I have to say it a few more times. He has 3 Stargates. Getting Phoenix out to deal with the Mutalisks isn't going to be too much trouble. He just needs to know that they're coming. A Sentry's being warped in. There's 3 Void Rays left behind to deal with these Void Rays. To deal with these Roaches. Absolutely fantastic. These aren't going to do anything. Here comes the big push. Now, the anti-air versus the Mutalisks is slightly limited, but there's still a lot of Void Rays, and he's just going to bring everything. Now he knows about the Mutalisk, so we could see Phoenix production begin immediately. And these Void Rays, the nice thing is that the Mutalisks are actually tanking the damage. The Mutalisks are tanking the Void Rays, allowing the Corruptors to go to town on these Colossi, but there's still 4 of them alive, and the Void Rays are for the most part dead, but there's enough Stalkers here to help clean these up. The Zealots destroying the 3rd base, and 66 Mutalisks are on the way, but with these Colossi, the Colossi are still here. He needs to get a fantastic surround/engagement somehow with this. These too many Colossi here for just Zerglings to answer this, and he's just going to immediately vaporize all of these. The Stalkers blasting away at these Mutalisks. There's not enough in the sky here for Revival. 3 Phoenix being built at a time to help reinforce this push as he just blasts in, and there's the GG. Sora takes the 2nd to win here for CJ Entis in this best of 9, so congrats to him.